James Aspey.
What's up? Alright, look at all you vegans. I see it already. Lots of vegans here. Put your hand up if you're vegan. Yeah, I was worried about that. Okay, so I suppose I'm just gonna... There's so many vegans here, it doesn't make that much sense for me to go into why you all should be vegan. Unless anybody forgets. We'll get some footage happening. But for the most part, that's not going to be very necessary. I'll go over it because there's probably still at least a few people here.
Is this better if I talk like this?
Yeah.
Is that better if I talk like this?
Or if I talk like this? You guys don't care. With the mic? Better?
Yeah.
Alright. So, what I'm gonna do is just, you just threw me off when you all put your hand up like that. I'm going to briefly go into why we all should be vegan in my opinion. And if anybody here has a differing opinion when I'm done, then feel free to challenge me on anything I said. Feel free to ask any questions if something I said didn't make sense or didn't resonate. If you think I'm wrong about something, they're the people I'd really love to hear from, and we can have a discussion and we can both share our sides of the story, and you know, we'll play it out that way. I'm not going to spend too much time on that though, because almost everybody here, maybe even everybody here, is vegan. So what I'll do after that, after just briefly going over everything, is I think we should talk about how to spread the message, how to, you know, it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it, it's about who you are when you say it, and different ways that we can all get involved and why we should all get involved. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And then if you have any questions after that, we can all have a discussion together. And can somebody let me know what time it is right now?
6:08.
Alright, and can somebody let me know when it is 6:50? Just go, go, 6:50. Alright, sweet. Alright, let me just start by introducing myself to anybody who doesn't already know me. My name's James Aspey, and I'm from Australia. I'm an animal rights activist. I'm an animal rights activist, but you know, that's why I focus mostly on that, because animal rights is the solution to so many other problems. It is the root cause of many of the issues that we are faced with environmentally. It is the core issue of many of the reasons why we are suffering bad health in this country and many others. It is also theorized that it is the core reason why we have so much discrimination in other areas. And I think there's definitely some weight to that. So I'll get into all of that soon. But what I'm trying to tell you is I don't fight for animal rights because I believe that pigs and cows and chickens and fish are any more important than humans. I think we all matter. I think all of us, everyone on planet Earth, deserves to have their life respected, deserves to be treated the way that they want to be treated, and we should extend our circle of compassion not just to other people in our family, not just to other strangers out there, not just to other species like dogs and dolphins and whales, but to all living beings. I don't think it makes sense to say that some matter and some do not. We can be kind to some, we can be violent to others, and I know pretty much everybody here already agrees with me on that. But it's not about trying to elevate animals to this status that they don't deserve. It's about giving them the basic fundamental right of not being treated as property, of having just the basic autonomy to their life, to be able to live and be respected. That's what it is. And because this is so far reaching with so many other aspects of humanity, of our survival and sustainability on this planet, it makes sense to me to fight for animal rights, because I believe, and I think it makes most sense, that will have the greatest overall benefit in terms of reducing suffering for the most part. Okay, so that's why. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit more about my story. I was a massive meat eater for 26 years of my life. Every single meal, if there wasn't meat on my plate, then I didn't see that as a meal. That was my pre-meal snack, even though if it was a massive plate of something, I just couldn't really view plates of food without animals on there as something that was going to give me the nutrients that I needed. I got very sick when I was 17. I got cancer, leukemia and lymphoma. I was given 6 weeks to live if I didn't start treatment straight away, which I did. I found that just by finding a tiny little lump in my neck. And I went to the doctors and they said, don't worry about it, it's glandular fever. And then that turned into 13 golf ball size lumps. And then they were under my arms and then they were in my groin. And I was in the Christmas holidays, which is like a 6 weeks holiday. It's our long holiday in school. It's our summer holidays. And I was going back and forth. They were scraping biopsies in me and taking lumps out. And eventually they came back and told me I had cancer. My first thought was, yes, I'm so glad I didn't do all those assignments I was supposed to do over the summer. And then I was like, whoa, cancer? I heard that's pretty bad. Oh shit. It was the most grueling experience in terms of physical pain of my life. I'd never suffered like that before. Most of us haven't, hopefully. You know, most of us actually, at least up until that point for me, and a lot of the time since then, I haven't been through very often that amount of physical discomfort, physical pain. That was my first experience really of serious physical pain, to the point where I was screaming out loud in the hospital, where 6 shots of morphine wasn't enough, where I was putting on so much weight that the skin on my sides ripped and bled. I couldn't breathe, I had pneumonia, lots of different problems. So I really suffered. This experience of suffering, and then coming out of my suffering through the help of the doctors, through the help of a personal trainer who helped me lose the 50 pounds that I put on. Coming out of my suffering was really what motivated me to become a personal trainer and to do the small part that I could in to help other people, my clients, out of their own physical suffering as well. I was very passionate. I tried to help people get off their medications through more natural means of lowering their blood pressure and eating healthier and losing weight and being strong and physically able and all those kind of things. I worked on a cruise ship 7 years into my personal training career. I met somebody on the ship who told me that eating animals is bad karma. I didn't even believe in karma, but still for some reason this resonated with me, mainly because it was all about me. I was trying to make my life good. This guy made it about me. He said it's bad for you if you eat animals. Your karma is going to be bad. And that kind of just freaked me out. It's like, shit, this guy's, he's a wise Indian man. He might be right about karma or something, I don't know. So I told him what I told everybody else up until this point who had wanted to become a vegetarian under my supervision as a personal trainer. I said, there's no such thing as a healthy vegetarian. That's one line that was told to me when I was becoming a personal trainer, and I just trusted it. I said, good, I don't want to be a vegetarian. Perfect news, I don't have to look into it. And I said it to this Indian man. He said, I've been vegetarian for 20 years. I said, you're lucky to be alive. I actually thought that, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try it for 7 days just to see how I feel, see if I can get some good karma points kind of thing. And then a few days in, I felt amazing. And I was shocked, and I wanted to learn more. Why do I feel good? I thought I wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning, but here I am in the gym, pushing it out, feeling strong. I just need to look into this. I look into it, I realize how much healthier it is to not eat animal products, which was a massive, massive blow to my reality, because I really thought that that was the only way. You need meat for protein, you need dairy for calcium, you need fish for omegas. Not realizing that we can get all these nutrients from plant foods, minus the cholesterol and the saturated fats and the hormones and the concentrated doses of pesticides and the cruelty, the violence, the suffering involved. But I didn't care about that at the time. I still just cared about me. Soon later, after researching more, oh, I thought that was lightning. It was just a light. Everyone look back. I started doing more research, getting very excited. Maybe I can help my clients more. What's this plant-based diet about, you know? And then I realized, oh, this is actually part of the story, but there's a whole nother part to the story, and that is what we do to animals in slaughterhouses, which I'd seen before, but it didn't resonate with me before. Because the first time, years prior, that I watched animals be slaughtered, I thought, we have to survive. We're humans. I'm not going to feel guilty about that. Why would I? Why would I feel guilty about something I have to do as a human? Watching the documentary Earthlings, which shows all the ways that we routinely and legally breed animals into existence, into a life of confinement, steal their babies, slit their throats, push them into gas chambers, and all the mutilations and suffering along the way. I watched this with fresh perspective. I asked myself the question, if we don't need to kill and eat animals to survive and thrive, then what the hell are we doing this to them for? Aren't you glad I brought you in here now? Yeah, I saw it coming. If we don't need to kill and eat animals to survive and thrive, how do we justify this? I sound quieter. Are we good?
Yeah.
Can you all hear me still?
Yeah.
All right. Oh shit. Oh, and it's raining. That's sad. All right, you can all still hear me? I feel like I just got quieter. Okay, we're good. All right. How can we justify this? Is there a justification? I started looking into it. I wanted to find a justification. I didn't want to stay vegetarian, obviously. I was a huge meat eater. I was just trying it as an experiment. I looked, I found taste, habit, tradition, convenience. None of those are good enough justifications for slitting throats of innocent beings who feel pain and suffer just like we do. Not even close. I like taste, but not enough to go kill somebody for it. I like money. I don't go around robbing people and stabbing them to steal their wallet. And it's a very similar thing. It is convenient to eat animals, they're everywhere, but it's also convenient to eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, seeds, and beans. You just need to learn a different way, and then it's equally as convenient. It's very easy once you learn how it's done, and it doesn't take long to learn how it's done. So I couldn't use that as a justification. Habit, yes, it's a habit. I've had a lot of bad habits in my time, and the ones that are causing harm to me or others, I really try to break. We should all try to break them as a society. If our habits are literally causing baby animals to be stabbed to death, put in gas chambers, stolen from their mothers, and all we got to do to break that habit is to go from getting cow's milk to rice, almond, soy, or coconut milk at the same supermarket. I think we can inconvenience ourselves that tiny little bit until we get used to doing that. It's not a big deal. So that wasn't one either. And then tradition. Yeah, we've been doing it a long time, and I thought, how could we all be wrong? We couldn't all still be wrong after all this time. But then I realized we've been doing a lot of things for a long time that aren't good. Abusing children, going to war, murdering each other, rape, all these kind of things. Racism, all kinds of stuff that just because it's been happening for a long time doesn't mean it is ethical. It belongs in a society that's trying to evolve to be peaceful and compassionate and moral. So I had no excuses. So then I was like, okay, I guess I'm vegetarian now, not just for the health benefits, that became just a bonus, but for the animals. And I started telling people, and they started saying, don't tell me, I don't want to know, don't spoil my dinner. And I couldn't understand why all these animal lovers, who loved animals way more than me, because I didn't even like animals at this point. I didn't even want to pat dogs at this point in my life, really. I had a dog, I didn't even like Bruce, I didn't want to, he was dirty, he was smelly, he slobbered. I wasn't an animal lover at all. At all. But I'm also not a violent person. I also want to try to be good and compassionate. I don't want to continue causing harm. You know, ignorance is one thing, but when you know better, you got to do better. That's what we're all trying to do constantly throughout our life, right? I hope. And so this is a way where I saw I can do better. I can eat healthier. I can help people by getting them onto this diet that can potentially reverse their heart disease or stop them from getting cancers and diabetes and obesity and osteoporosis, and actually 14 out of 15 of the biggest killers that humans are currently faced with. And also, no animal lover, but I can stop my contribution to a huge amount of cruelty to animals. I would devour a barbecue chicken in 2 seconds. That's a bird's life gone, boom, wolfed it down. That was my snack before my meal. You know, I was eating, I don't know how many animals I ate. I don't know how many beings were killed so that I could feast on their bodies when I could have easily just eaten something else that didn't cause anyone to scream in terror and die. So I made that choice. This Indian guy told me that he learned all this from meditation, so I booked in for a 10-day meditation course. 5 days in, I had the idea to do a year-long vow of silence. I don't know what I was thinking, but eventually I got around to doing that. prior to doing that year of silence, I started learning more about animal ethics because I decided I was going to do it to raise awareness for animals. They're voiceless, I'll be voiceless. That was my kind of thought. And during that time, researching more, I realized I wasn't all the way there being a vegetarian. Everybody knows when you cut a body into pieces, that meat obviously caused somebody to suffer and die. But what about dairy? What about eggs? What about leather? All these kind of things. I'll run through it quickly with you. Every single animal product is from an animal who was used. All forms of use, using someone, exploiting someone, that's exploitation. Exploitation is a form of abuse, and all abuse is immoral. It's unnecessary abuse. That's the thing we've got to remember here. We get all our nutrients from plants. We have other materials, so we don't need to wear somebody's skin. We have alternatives to all these things that we so routinely, legally do to innocent beings in our society. So this is when I realized, okay, being vegetarian was a good start, but to actually live in alignment with my core values, I need to become vegan, which shocked the hell out of everybody I knew because everybody knew I didn't even like animals. And then I'd gone to becoming this vegan guy. And it wasn't easy at first. I had to learn a few new recipes. I didn't know what I was going to do about ice cream, which was what I loved eating constantly. But I started making banana ice cream and smoothies instead. I found some vegan ice cream at the store. We had this stuff called So Good. It was cheaper for a liter of vanilla vegan ice cream. Now, I heard you got 17 flavors of Ben & Jerry's?
Yeah!
That's just showing off, guys. We have 2 in Australia. Relax. No one needs 17 flavors of anything. Come on. But I'm glad you just have it. That's really good. Anyway, time to change it. Back then, I was sticking to banana ice cream. Blend frozen bananas with a splash of soy milk. That's what you got to do. And I started planning for my vow silence. I started my vow silence January 1st, 2014. I won't go through the whole story because this is a crowd that I'd like to talk about different things with. But basically what I learned during that is who this was happening to. I already knew what was happening. Animal cruelty is bad. But what I really connected with during this year is who these animals are. I never really saw them as equal, even after I'd gone vegan. There was humans, there was animals. Forgetting, not realizing, missing that day in year 8 science class that humans are just one species of animal. We are one of millions of species, and we are no different from them in any meaningful way. It created a special society in terms of being able to manipulate our environment, and that is due to having a complicated voice box that gave us the ability to create a sophisticated language. That's what we did. And over years and years and years and decades and centuries, we got to this point where we were able to share language and build on what the past generations had already created. And here we are, and we're doing incredible things, no doubt about it. But do we feel pain any more than a pig? No. Do we suffer any more than any other species? Not necessarily. We all feel pain, we all suffer, we all want to live, none of us want to die. I started seeing animals I started seeing them for who they really are. Not just these weird things that were very different to us, I saw them more as an individual, as someone, a person, as people of different communities and different species, non-human people. And that completely changed my life, and still does to this day. When I look around now and I see animals, I see people, basically. And that has enriched my life in such a huge way, because I see families I wouldn't have noticed before, or really cared to consider the complexities of their structures and their communities. Even ants, everyone. The world is so much richer because now we're all together. Whereas before, they weren't so interesting, they were much less significant than what they are now. It's been a special journey, evolution of my heart and an evolution of my mind. And this is why it's so important for us to share this message, because we're the only ones that will. Vegans will send the right message out there of abolishing animal exploitation, abolishing animal slavery in all forms, which is exactly what it is. Ending the animal holocaust. A lot of people don't like to use that word. The word holocaust means mass slaughter of innocent beings. We are currently slaughtering 8 billion beings every single day. 74 billion land animals, 2.7 trillion sea animals. the animal holocausts, it is very deserving of that title. There's never been a Holocaust in history, and there's been many of them. There's never been a Holocaust in history with anywhere near the amount of victims, with anywhere near the amount of suffering that has happened even in one day of the animal holocaust. So it's very important that we do something about this. It happens right now in our civilized society. Gandhi said, "You can judge a nation's moral progress by the way that they treat their animals." Every single country, every nation has slaughterhouses that are legal, where innocent babies, innocent animals, go into these places alive, and they come out chopped up into pieces. And people like to think something humane happens in there. What is humane about chopping somebody up into pieces? There's no humane way to kill someone who doesn't want to die. That couldn't be anywhere further from humane. It is the opposite of humane. Humane means to show compassion. There's no compassionate murder. There's no compassionate child abuse. There's no compassionate Holocaust. There's no compassionate humane slaughter. It's just a marketing word used by very powerful, very clever industries to make good people like us contribute to something very, very, very bad. And that's what most people are doing. Unknowing people, just like me, just like most people here who didn't know better before. We're born into a society, we never question, do I want to eat animals? Should I eat animals? Should I start? No. You're eating animals from the day you can remember. That's just what our society does. It's just normal. To the point that you don't even think about your hypocrisy of if you see somebody beating a dog and the feelings of enrage that come inside you that make you feel enraged and the unfairness and what are you doing? How could you? The baffling feelings of why someone would abuse an innocent, vulnerable animal, just like a little child. And then after we do our part there to try to stop that, we go and buy a bacon burger. And we also still call ourselves animal lovers, and that we're against animal cruelty. And even animal lovers will say, yes, you can eat meat and be an animal lover. We exist. Really? Well, I don't think if you could ask the animals if they thought you loved them, they would agree. I think they would think, no, that is basically the devil. These people are like the devil to us. Like the Nazis were to the Holocaust victims. We are the ones who are sending these animals to these slaughterhouses, to these facilities built just to kill. So they're not feeling any love, no matter how many thanks those animals get over their corpse, over their rotting corpse. That none of that does anything for these non-human people who have been killed because of this system. So we need to pull people out of this system. There's a better way to walk. That's the beauty of this. There's another path. You don't have to be involved in this. You can get out and it's going to do you a world of good and the sustainability of our planet a world of good. And most importantly, it's going to end this violence to all of these victims who go unseen and unheard behind the walls of the slaughterhouse. How do we get people to do it? Well, I know from speaking to literally thousands of vegans that this is one of the best things vegans have ever done when they went vegan. So let's start seeing this as a gift to share. So many people are afraid to share this thing because of feelings of they're going to be ostracized, they're going to come across wrongly, they're going to feel like they're being preachy and judgy. You've got to come from a place of, I got something to share with you, and it is so good. You're going to be able to align with who you're really supposed to be, the good person inside you. You're almost that person already. You're doing it mostly ignorantly. You don't really understand the harm you're causing when you buy cow's milk, when you buy eggs at the store. You don't really get it. I know that because most of the people we know are good people. There's a few people wired a little differently, but for the most part, it's good people who are contributing to this injustice, to this suffering. And that's why the truth is so powerful. You don't need to scream at people. You don't need to yell at people. You don't need to go about this in a way that doesn't make you feel good. You can do it however you want. I'm just going from experience that I've had, what works best for me, what I've seen work best for other people. It is about coming from a place of love and compassion. We're trying to ask people to be compassionate, so we need to show people how to be compassionate. The means we use must be as pure as the ends we seek. That is a quote from Martin Luther King. If we want people to walk this compassionate way, we need to tread that ground and make it easy for them. Otherwise, it's just this big mess of a jungle. We need to tread it and show and really just ooze compassion for everybody, for the most staunch meat eater, for people who hunt, for slaughterhouse workers, for everyone in between. Everybody deserves compassion. I see everybody like that as a victim, just like I was. A victim of conditioning, a victim of brainwashing, a victim of lies being told to them, a victim of thinking that they need to eat animals or they'll die, basically, is what they are kind of told. You need meat for protein, you need dairy for calcium. So we're all victims of all this crap. And to get people out, you don't want people to feel defensive. When you attack somebody is when they feel defensive. When they get defensive, they put up their guard. And that guard is a barrier between them receiving your message from heart to heart. This is the place we should be targeting with the logic and with the emotion. You know, people should be emotional about this. It doesn't mean you have to sacrifice on what you're saying. It doesn't mean you don't have to be passionate. You don't have to sacrifice any of that. Just sacrifice the judgment. Remember that you were once there, probably not that long ago. Unless you were born vegan, you were just like this. And it's so easy to forget. Because when you go vegan, you're like, oh my God, how obvious is this? Come on, you don't get it. Don't even lie. I know you must get it. I told you again and again. But really, it takes time for this whole jigsaw puzzle to be complete enough so that people can see the picture and go, oh, okay. We all have so many objections when we start. And this is the place to start from. What are people's objections? Find out specifically with the individual you're talking to, or just as a collective, if you're putting content out there or something like that. What are the things that are really stopping people from changing? If they think that they can't be healthy on a plant-based diet, show them all the proof that you can, including, you know, I have just a copy-paste thing that I do. It's the nutrition, basic,
American
Dietetic Association. Yeah, American Dietetic Association. But also the Canadian Dietetic Association, and the Australian one, and the UK one, and the USA, all of them. And I have them all, and they all say appropriately planned vegan diets are healthful for everybody. Young, old, athletes, breastfeeding mothers, and you'll probably live a healthier life and reduce your chances of diseases. That's what they all say. So I just copy and paste that, boom, that crosses that objection off. You know, yeah, maybe you read a blog article somewhere, but are you really going to disagree with the statements of the most credible dietetic associations around the globe that all agree? That would just be silly. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. That's just one page. There's documentaries, there's doctors, there's speeches, there's living examples of people who are healthy and thriving and have been for decades on a plant-based diet. So whatever it is, however you can do it, cross that objection off their list. If they don't know what to cook, if they don't know what to eat, if they don't think they're going to enjoy the food, no worries. Show them. Show them the Instagram pages like Bosch or the Buddhist Chef, or, I mean, there's countless. My friend Purely Plants has a really bright, colorful, good one. And it's just about showing them that this is going to be delicious for you. It's going to be easy. These are the easy recipes. You can do this. It's no harder than what you're already doing. If they think it's expensive, show them how it's going to be cheap. If they think it's extreme, show them why it is totally normal, and what the way that they have been living is what is actually extreme. Whatever their objections are, you can just work through it. And that's really what it is. It's just sales. You find out what people's objections are. By the time they got none left, like, actually, okay, you're right, this is starting to sound like a pretty good idea. I got nothing left to say, and now the only reason why maybe I don't want to do this is because I'm being stubborn. And yeah, okay, some people won't do it just because they're stubborn, but a lot of people are going to be like, I'm stubborn, but I'm not that stubborn. The amount of reasons to do this is actually very overwhelming. And okay, I don't know where I'm going to start, but and like, this is where you start. And just help them with every little thing. You can start like this. There's this way to do it. You go vegetarian first. Some people don't like to recommend meatless Mondays and all that. I would never just say, oh, you should just do meatless Mondays. I would say, some people like to stop eating meat on one day a week, or just for the whole week, or they want to do vegan recipes for breakfast. Who cares? I don't think it matters, really. I just think if you're being clear, this is where you're going to be soon, and if you want to go that way, if you think that works best for you, or this, or that, who cares? Just let them get there. Some people don't like to say, oh, you could go vegetarian first and go vegan. Well, put your hand up if you went vegetarian first. Okay, obviously it works. Almost everybody, every speech I do that at is the same when there's a lot of vegans in the crowd. The majority, I think, from just what I've seen, most vegetarians, most vegans were vegetarian first. It's a great step. Meat feels like a big thing to cut out. Just say, look, it might feel daunting. I remember, it used to feel daunting to me as well. So what I did, I went vegetarian for a while. I personally went vegetarian for a year. I wouldn't recommend you go vegetarian for a year. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have someone coaching me like you have right in this moment. What I would say is go vegetarian for a week. See how you feel. You might be willing already after a week to cut out eggs and find a few replacements. It's really very easy. And then when you cut out eggs, just start replacing your dairy with the plant-based sources. You could be there in a week. You could be there overnight if you really want. Here's how you do it overnight. Give options. People will do whatever they feel they can do. But I think giving options is a great idea, because if you just say, go vegan, do it overnight, people are going to be like, nah, it's a bit hard. And I don't even, you know what, I'll do it one day. I'll start one day. Like, if people just take a step, it's likely to follow with another step and another step, and there's momentum there, and they keep moving and they get praised. Oh, you made a step. Great step. Like, we always make jokes about, oh, baby steps are for babies. But who cares? It's like, come on, baby, like, just take another step, take another step. Help people. If that's how slow they got to go, whatever. You know, if you have a conversation with somebody and you don't get to do your whole vegan spiel, you got 2 minutes with somebody, but maybe you got 2 minutes just to find one of their objections and fire it off. And then they're a little closer and they walk away and you're like, damn, that person didn't go vegan in the time I had with them. It's kind of hard to make people go vegan in like 5 minutes when you just met them maybe at the airport or something, but it happens. But if not, cool, be happy with what you did. Your job isn't to force people to go vegan. Your job is to learn in my opinion, your job is to learn people's objections and then to help them move closer to that goal. We're all still growing as vegans. I'm still learning about plastic and all these things that still cause harm to the environment and to animals. I'm not perfect. No, don't even think just because you've gone vegan that you're perfect. I got heaps of stuff about me that I'm trying to improve on and get better, things that I'm still learning, I'm still growing, we all are. So it's just about finding out where people are at and then going, okay, so here's how you can get to a really good place. This is the goal, and here's some ways you can get there. You know, what do you think's gonna work for you? What can you start with today? What out of our conversation resonated, and what can you put into action so that you'll start taking these steps? And just figure it out with the people, like you've got to kind of coach them. It's really important about being a good model for this lifestyle, I think. If you're trying to preach compassion and you're being an angry, aggressive person, you're probably just not gonna make the vegan lifestyle seem that appealing. People already have a pretty bad impression of us. I don't know why. I think we're goddamn awesome. It's I don't know. Look, I think what it is this. Before, because this is such a heated topic, like there are billions of lives on the line. But it doesn't mean, okay, the more suffering there is, the more angry we should be. It's like, let's just figure out how to be the most effective rather than the most angry and passionate. That isn't necessarily the best way to make a vegan world as soon as possible. Before, I really sympathize with the activists who are out there. They were fighting such a tough battle. They didn't have ways to share their information like we do with social media. Remind me to talk about that if I forget. They weren't getting attention. They were much fewer in numbers. They didn't have documentaries popping up on Netflix. So imagine the pressure they would have felt, how much more weight on the shoulders they would have felt. And I think part of that made it hard to get this message across in a good way. Of course, there was many that did, but you can understand why. They would have been really frustrated and angry, and a lot are today, and that's not even wrong. I'm not even saying that's wrong. Of course we're going to be angry about what's going on. It's about channeling it though, and learning how to channel it in the most effective and positive way. And anger has a place, and if that resonates with you, go for it. I would never tell you not to be angry about it. I guess again, I'm just coming back to what I've seen work best, what I think resonates and reaches people in the most effective way. These days, what we've got is the opportunity to reach so many people with this message. And we have it with this thing that's in all of our pockets. You don't need to have 50,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. You might have 100. You might have 100 people on Facebook. You might have 100 people on Instagram. whoa, that's a lot of people. That's like the same amount of people that's here right now. And you can reach them every single day. And sometimes your thoughts and your quotes and your photos and your videos and your recipes get shared. And your movie recommendations get shared. And maybe that time 200 people will see it. Or maybe just 10 people saw it. Who cares? It's just about planting seeds every day. Taking whatever opportunity you've got to plant seeds. And like I said, your job isn't to make them grow. You just put them out there, hopefully, you know, be there for them, try to nurture them if you can. But if not, putting that message out there, putting that truth out there is going to go a long, long way. You never know the power of a ripple effect. That guy said to me, eating animals is bad karma. Didn't even have a YouTube channel. I've reached tens of millions of people now. You know, so you just really never know. That guy probably doesn't even know what's been going on with me. That's just a little seedy plant. Eating animals is bad karma. He's like, ha ha ha. He's killing it, that guy. You know, and there's so many people who influence me who probably have no idea of their influence, and I'm probably even a little oblivious to the ways I've been influenced over the years. The point is, just put it out there. Don't be afraid to do it. That's your job. That's our role. You are so lucky to get it, aren't you? You're going to live longer. That alone is a beautiful gift. You're living more in alignment with who you truly are. What a great feeling. That's why everybody says, oh, going vegan is the best thing I ever did. Yeah, you're so lucky to have got this message when you did. So early compared to the vast majority of humans on the planet. It's your responsibility. It's our responsibility. It's the least that animals deserve for us to spread this message. So don't be afraid. I don't feel like you have to do it in a hardcore way. You can. It's also fun sometimes to do that. I'm not always super chill. I only put the good videos on my YouTube. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm going in. And that's fun. But you know, for the most part, take any opportunity. When someone asks you, what do you do for your job? You're like, oh, I do whatever you do. I do sales. Also, I'm an animal rights activist. They're going to ask questions about that. And if they didn't ask you, just ask them about their job so much that they're going to feel really guilty if they don't ask you. That's just one way to get the conversation started every single time. You know, and just saying things when you're at the meat section, you're like, whoa, I can't believe people still eat dead bodies here. That's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like I'm living in, you know, zombies. You know, bring it up whenever you can. That's the beauty of it. It takes a conversation for people to just lift the veil, and yeah, we really have so much power with just sharing the truth. We don't have to convince people about this very confusing topic. Little kids get it. Where's Evan? That dude went vegan when he was 5. Look at him up there like a boss. That's where I'd be chilling if I wasn't doing this. Dude went vegan when he was 5. It's not complicated. Why did you go vegan, Evan?
First and foremost, the animals, but then I learned about the planet and my health and all the other reasons, because we have so many.
Right? Because animal cruelty is not good. And if we don't have to contribute to animal cruelty, we shouldn't do it. That makes sense to pretty much everybody. So even kids can get it. Everybody can get it, and yes, it's about spreading it with love and compassion. And you know, for a long time, I felt really guilty. I felt like I had to be hardcore. I felt like they deserved a hardcore activist. And I saw other hardcore activists who were having great results. So I tried to be that guy, and it just didn't work. I couldn't pull it off because it wasn't real. You know, I wasn't actually angry at people. I felt sympathy for people. It's like, oh, I remember when I was like that. Man, it must suck to still be eating corpses. So I tried it on. It didn't work. And then my friend said to me one day, why don't you just be yourself, you know? Like, just try doing it, just be you. And I thought, all right, that's actually not that crazy of an idea. I could at least try it. And then I went into my job where I was working at the time, a personal trainer. This is just after my year of silence. And I sat down. And they said, oh, do you want a muffin? And they handed me this muffin. I'm looking at it, just thinking about the egg industry and the dairy industry. I'm like, do I want a muffin? And I was about to lose it. I was like, what? No, I'm vegan. You know, and just do my whole thing. But like with anger and aggression. Because I just felt like it was good to shame people into it. Like to make people feel bad that they didn't know any better. And then I remembered the conversation I just had. And I'm like, oh. No, I love muffins and I appreciate the offer, but I actually don't eat non-vegan muffins because this has got eggs, this has got dairy, and wait, come over here. I'm going to show you what happens in the egg and dairy industry. You have to see. This is going to blow your mind. And I show them how the baby chicks get shredded, and I showed them how the baby cows in the dairy industry get taken from their mothers, and their mothers cry, and the babies get slaughtered if they're boys, and just the whole thing. And they were like, it was actually funny because I sat back, and there was 3 of them crowding around the computer, and I was behind them, and I took a photo with the muffin in the corner. I took a photo, and I sent it to my friend, and I'm like, it works. It's working right now. And since then I thought, okay, this is the way. We're trying to lead by compassion. We can be compassionate to these people. And we have 3 options with people. We can either go down to their level, you know, or down to this negative vibe, this low vibe energy, where we just have this fight and we just bicker back and forth, and they leave going vegans. I even more don't want to be a vegan now than before after speaking to this guy. And they literally get more solid in their views. And you walk away going, meat eaters, my God, man, we're so different. I hate them. I don't know why they don't get it. You know, you can really feel polarized. It's them versus us, but it's not that. Another option is that you stay in that place, you stay peaceful, you stay compassionate, and they're trying to bring you down, they're saying all this stuff, and I've had the best conversations. You wouldn't believe them. You wouldn't believe what's happened. I've posted a few of them where people just start at me. You know, like I had a chef recently, he was holding this, like, this pig that had been slit right open, throat slit, body slit right open, and just mocking me. And we started talking, I'm just all the love. And it was tripping out, like, why is this guy being so nice to me? I couldn't have started with a more offensive picture. And I'm like, oh man, you know, I remember when I used to not care about animals. I feel for you, bro. Like, and just, but not condescending, legitimate. I'm like, wow, you know, I feel so much better now that I've made this connection. You know, is there a reason why you feel so hostile to vegans? What do you know? You're a chef. Have you ever cooked any vegan meals? Have you ever challenged yourself in that way? And then in the end, he's like, all right, I'm going to watch your speech, fine. And he watches my speech, he's like, all right, that gave me a lot to think about. I said, cool. And then, this was long. And then it took a while for him to like come up there. A few months later, he messaged me, he goes, dude, check out this seitan I made. I'm like, wow, that looks delicious. And then he messaged me a little while later, he's like, all right, you know what? I've been thinking about it. I think I'm just going to go in and do this thing. I'm like, yeah, do it. That's mad, bro. Congrats. Let me know if you need any help. Just total turnaround. I could have easily been like, you know, he could have sent me that photo and I could have just gone straight for it down there and joined him and had this fight, and he would have went away laughing. I would have went away feeling frustrated. We would have got nowhere. This dude's a vegan chef now, and it's hard. Like, it's not easy to just be like, oh, no, nothing gets to me. Like, it doesn't happen like that. But it's a practice. It's a practice, and this is how it goes. And that's the third option that can happen. You stay high vibing, and they realize you're not fighting, and they lift up for the occasion. Like, okay, this person's respecting me. All right, I look like an idiot. I'm just going to be respectful. I've started the conversation. What does he have to say? You get somewhere. Might not be to that degree, but maybe they'll leave thinking, vegans aren't as bad as I thought. And I kind of look like the dick right now. And which is common. So, how do you do it? How do you, you're so passionate. So many people say to me, oh man, I don't know how you talk to people like you talk to people. How do you stay calm? And it's really just a technique that I've practiced for years now. So, and I don't expect to be a pro at it straight away, but I'll tell you exactly the technique to work with. And if you do work with it over time, guaranteed you will improve. You will find it easier to stay chill. When people are attacking you, you'll be able to stay peaceful. You won't feel the need to go down. Or you might go down a little bit, but then you'll realize and you'll come back up. And you might even, whoa, come back up even higher. So it's really a powerful technique. It's helped me in countless ways, but with advocacy especially, you know, one of the biggest things that people say, oh, this is why I respect you as an activist. It's because of how I say it, not the facts. I don't even know. There's way more activists out there who know way more facts than me. I just say the same ones over and over. And look, the facts don't really change. The facts don't really change. But what can improve is your delivery. And that goes a hell of a long way. So this is the technique. You can practice this in the mornings when you first wake up. You can practice it before you go to bed. You can practice it when you're having a shower, when you're brushing your teeth, when you are having a conversation, when you're reading a book, all the time, anytime, as soon as you think of it. If you have to write a post-it to remind you, whatever. I'm trying to practice this constantly. And I've done courses where you practice it for 10 or 11 hours a day for 10 days. It's called Vipassana meditation. If you ever want to practice that and go in and really learn the technique. But many of you probably will never do that or get the opportunity. Cool, so this is what you can practice. When you're talking to people or when you're doing anything, what's going to happen are physical sensations on your body. So you've got to be observant of your inner body as you're communicating. You're still totally present, you're listening, but you're aware maybe of the tingling sensation in your hands. That's a really good place to start. I always like to go to my heart as well, observe the sensation in my heart or in my chest, because a lot of stuff happens right here. You'll notice anxiety often feels, at least for me, like a gripping in the chest. Depression feels like a heavy weight on the chest. Anger feels like heat and constriction. A lot of stuff happens here. It's a really good place to observe. So it's two main things. It's observation of the physical sensation. It's not about your thoughts, what you're thinking at the time. It's not about your emotions. It's very specifically the physical sensations. Tightness, itching, pressure, tension, pain, physical sensations. And it is that combined with, so you're observing them and you're accepting them, whatever they are. An example would be when I gave a speech once and there was a dairy farmer in the crowd and he started having a go at me and I felt very anxious. And I didn't know what to do, and he brought my speech was killing it. And then at the end it went boom, because this dude started talking and brought the whole vibe down. And I thought, oh no, what a bad ending, what am I going to do? And then I remembered what I've spent hundreds of hours practicing. And I went into, oh okay, we'll do the technique. What do I feel right now? Take a breath. Okay, I feel a strong pressure in my chest. And you know what? It's gonna pass. And that's the thing you gotta remember. You just observe it. Don't feed it. Don't go, oh, I don't want this to be here. I wish this wasn't happening. Well, how can I distract myself? You sit with it. You let it be there. You go, okay, this is the reality of the moment. Obviously, it would be nice if it wasn't this, but this is how it is. This is how it's manifesting right now. And the best thing I can do in any situation is accept the moment as it is. Fully accept it. So, okay, there's tension, there's anxiety, there's pressure, there's pain, whatever. No point going, oh no, there's pain. That just adds to it. What are you going to do? Pain exists. You might as well accept it. That is the best path. And in this particular situation with the speech with the farmer, I realized that what had happened. I observed it, and this doesn't always happen, but it just melted away. And I felt so much more calm and ready to take this on. Sometimes you won't realize it until 2 hours after a conversation that made you angry. And then you're like, oh, there's so much tension here. Wow. Take a breath and just feel, okay, there's tension. And I don't know, it could be an hour, it could be a day, but it'll pass. But at least I'm accepting it now rather than resisting it and making it worse for myself. And then next time, maybe that took 2 hours that time, maybe next time you realize in an hour and a half. Maybe instead of it being a 9 out of 10 overwhelming experience, it's an 8 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10. And this is the ticket out. And the problem with me just telling you this is it's just, to you at this point, unless you've already practiced this, just a theory. It's my experience that I'm sharing with you. You really have to experience it for yourself to be convinced that what I'm saying is true. I'm 100% convinced because I've seen my entire life transformed with this technique. Maybe another meditation will work for you, but I strongly believe, just through my own experience, working with the physical sensations and acceptance of the moment is what is going to bring you more peace, bring you more calm, bring you more clarity of your mind so you can articulate your words on a higher vibe, basically, and really get through to people without them getting defensive because you're feeling attacking and them getting, missing out on the message. So that is one of the biggest reasons why I think I've been able to reach the people that I've reached and have this effect. It's not because I know facts and figures, I know a few, but it's basically I'm just telling you, hey, cruelty is bad, right? So let's just do this instead. But I think what really helps more than most things is meeting people on their level, being compassionate and walking your talk and not taking things personally, being patient with people, understanding where they are at this time and not judging them for that, not blaming them for that, continuing to educate, continuing to inspire and being the best vegan that you can be. And that's it. So thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. I see a question up the back here. What's up, man?
Do plants feel pain?
It's a good question. That was a question I had when I first started learning about all this. The plants respond to stimuli, just like a doorbell responds to stimuli when an electric current is passed through. But what plants don't have that animals like us and other beings have, they do not have a central nervous system. They don't have a brain. And a brain is necessary to experience pain, to experience any sort of awareness of reality, as far as we know. So that's a widely accepted thing in the scientific community, that they don't feel pain. They do respond to stimuli. When the sun comes out, they open up and then they close. But there's no reason to believe they actually suffer. They actually feel pain because they don't have a brain. They don't have a heart. They don't have a central nervous system. But even if they did feel pain, even if plants did feel pain, veganism is not perfection. It is, the literal definition is to cause the least amount of harm as practically possible. What's practically possible for us is we're going to have to cause some harm as humans on this planet. We can't be perfect. I probably stood on some ants walking here. Does that mean I wrap myself in a bubble and live in my bedroom? No. There'll probably be microbes in there or something as well. So you can't be perfect. You be as far as practically possible reducing your harm. And when it comes to plants, if they did feel pain, eating a plant-based diet, a total plant-based diet, would still be the path to causing least amount of harm, because we kill up to 15 times more plants to fatten up these animals. So these animals need a lot of food to get to the point where they're ready to be slaughtered, and it's up to 15 times more calories that we give them, so we can get back this specific amount of calories in this particular package of flavor that we like. So we could potentially reduce 15 times at least more plant casualties, as well as reducing the billions of victims of the slaughterhouses every single day, which also leads to, we waste 16 times more land on animal agriculture, 13 times more water, 11 times more oil. It causes 50 times more greenhouse gas emissions, and there are 20,000 children starving to death every single day as well. Theoretically, if we redistributed even a portion of this food that we're fattening these animals up with, we could end world hunger over and over again. So, although I don't think plants feel pain, and I think that the scientific consensus agrees, even if they did, the path to least harm would still be to be vegan and eat a plant-based diet. Thanks for your question. Yes, brother.
What do you say to the people who use religion as an excuse to eat meat?
Okay, I hate this question.
Can you repeat this question?
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. The question was, what do you say to people who use religion as an excuse to eat meat? I find it especially sad, to be honest. It's a tough question because people who are religious are not necessarily as...
Sounds good time.
Yeah. Yes, Jesus? I'm telling them now. I'm telling them now. Okay, so religious people are striving, let's use Christianity for an example. They're striving to be like Christ. And Christ was a compassionate being, the ultimate compassionate being. All religions, as far as I'm aware, are based on love, or all the good ones anyway. Any that isn't and condones violence is a religion that we should be seriously questioning. Seriously, if your religion is saying it's okay to slit throats, it's okay to kill babies and steal them from their mothers of another species, when there's no actual... I'm telling them now. Jesus, got Buddha over here. How's the gong? People are trying to be like their idols, like the people who they see as godlike, having these great qualities. And I don't think if Jesus, the Prince of Peace, the Lamb of God, was here right now, that he would look at a slaughterhouse and be like, everything seems to be in order here. A lot of screaming, but I'm fine with it. No way. Are you kidding me? This guy would be freaking out of what we were doing. He'd be like, is this hell? Am I at the wrong place?
Yeah.
Where's the Garden of Eden? And the Garden of Eden was vegan. They all ate plants. So I think any religion worth its weight, and I think there's a lot of good things in a lot of religions, but the core of it should be love, loving thy neighbor, thou shalt not kill, be kind wherever possible. And anybody who is eating meat who is religious and using God as a excuse, I think they're confused. Probably because of the brainwashing that they're also subject to, even in their I don't know what you call it, their sect of religion, where the what's they called? The priest probably eats meat, probably got a bit of a bias. Not necessarily a bad person, maybe a very, very good person trying to spread the love, just not realizing, even the Dalai Lama eats meat. Okay, you're a great guy and all, man. This is one really serious thing you're contributing to that's causing throats to be slashed. Look at that. But everything else you're doing is great. So I think it's important to pay attention to all their good, realize that they're not bad people. No religion mandates consuming animal products to be a good Christian, to be a good Muslim, to be a good Jew, to be a good whatever. None of them do. It's always a choice. So why would you choose violence? Why would you choose to cause suffering? Why would you choose to kill God's creatures when God never says you have to do this? You have a choice. And the choice only came after we sinned. And what God wants, just in this particular religion, we want to get back to the Garden of Eden. One big way we can do that is to obviously eat a plant-based diet. There's lots of what's it called? There's lots of websites and things dedicated to really going deeply into each religion and why they all favor being vegan. So if you're more interested in that, definitely check them out. Tough one. It's a tough one, and a lot of time all you can do is make them think on that, because they're going by the teachings of a book and they may have interpreted it in a specific way. Dominion doesn't necessarily mean you can dominate. It means you have dominion because you're a custodian. You have the most power. Okay, cool. Doesn't mean you use your power to kill. Use it for good rather than evil. Yeah. Okay. Someone? Yeah.
I actually on my way here got a question from someone, and I just don't have the facts, but they brought up hunting and, well, what do vegans say when people say there's a hunting or an overpopulation problem, like with deer, and if we didn't hunt them, like blah blah blah, and what if they only ate the meat from the deer that they killed for the overpopulation problem?
Yeah, it's a okay. So there's so many very obvious, clear answers when it comes to veganism and animal rights. If it's unnecessary, it's unnecessary. You don't do it. Now, people make an argument that there's overpopulation and we need to kill animals for this reason or that reason. I think a really good thing to do is always to put humans in that situation. Not literally, but just in your mind. Okay, what would we do if it was humans? What would we do if there was humans causing a problem on Earth? As if we have to think hard about that. That's exactly what's happening. Humans are the biggest pest species. Do we go around and kill each other to draw the numbers down? No, we don't. Of course we would never do that. We try to find the most harm-free methods. And we will never be interested, collectively, in finding those better methods like trap and release, spray and neuter, and relocation programs, and the other options that are out there, plus the many more that haven't even been discovered or thought of yet. We're not going to be very interested in finding those solutions because the animals are deemed as an actual problem. We're willing right now as a society to kill animals just because they taste good. They're not even causing a problem. We just kill them because we like how they taste. So if we're willing to kill them for such a trivial reason as they taste good, of course we're going to have no problem with killing them because they're causing there's some sort of problem happening here. So I think a big part of it is we have to change the whole vibe of how people view animals and address speciesism. Why is it okay to address the pest problem with this species in this very violent, murderous, shoot them in the head way, but with humans we would be much more kind, considerate. We'd figure it out on a much more ethical level. So we have to raise the status of animals from being so low that they're not even considered anything more worthy than being a product that we buy that tastes good. We have to raise them up. So that's a big part of the job. And then other parts will be, it's very particular in different regions. With deer, with certain types of fish, it's location to location often. But regardless of whatever the answer is, murder should be our last resort, not our first resort. And again, you still shouldn't be eating the bodies of these victims. You know, we should just be eating the things that are better for our planet, better for us, and that promote a good message that other sentient beings are not food for us. Yeah, it's a challenging question though, because it can be dependent on location, but you know, where there's a will, there's a way. We're very intelligent beings, you know what I'm saying. We can be. We don't always look like we are, but we can be, and we will find solutions to all those kind of problems when the amount of people who want that to happen is there. Yeah.
So I'm vegan, and I'm very passionate about the movement to lifestyle. I have some immigrant family members here, and they're living in food deserts, and when I go to visit them, I feel super guilty when what they have is those knockoff Kraft singles and eggs and bread, that's what they have. So I feel guilty to try to push that onto them. So do you have any advice for how to help people in these food deserts and how to adapt to a vegan diet?
Yeah, that's such a shame. The food that they're eating is so poor quality, and potentially all they can afford, all that's available. I think it's great that the cheapest foods that are available are actually plant-based foods. Grains like oats and rice, beans, highly nutritious. A meal of rice and beans, which is a meal I eat regularly, is tasty, delicious, very healthy, filling, and extremely cheap. One of the cheapest meals available. Oats is one of the cheapest meals available. Potatoes are one of the cheapest foods available. So I guess I would suggest, if possible, in those regions, to educate them on the very affordable ways that they can eat vegan food, which ultimately they're going to feel better, they're going to be able to live a better life, probably spend less time taking time off work and less time in the doctor's surgeries, or potentially even on the table having surgery and things like that. But it can be just as cheap, if not cheaper. There's a great book called How to Eat Vegan on $4 a day, and you could pass that on to them, or find some cheap recipes. There's also places in the world that literally have no choice, and they have to eat animal products, and they have no other option. What do you do in places like that? You just, again, you help them cause the least amount of harm as practically possible. It's not, the world isn't set up perfectly for vegans to be vegan everywhere. So we work with what we've got, we do what we can on our own doorstep and then in our neighbor's doorstep, and we do what we can everywhere we can. That could be potentially a project that you take on. Okay, something I'm passionate about is, what I do? I go around and I try to activate vegans and I try to inspire non-vegans to become vegan. You might be like, okay, what I really want to do is go to these communities and help them get more plant-based options and teach them how to cook rice and beans, or I don't know, whatever, to make it delicious so that they can afford this and be eating in a way that is aligned with their moral values. Yeah, sometimes it's not perfect, and that's unfortunate. And again, you just be the best vegan you can be in a not yet vegan world. Yeah, and don't feel guilty, it's really not set up for everyone. So again, it sucks. And okay, maybe feel guilty, but but what are you gonna do? You're doing the best you can. You gotta live. You gotta eat something. You can't blame these people. So it's a very sad situation. That's where we're at. But just chip away. Okay, so where do I start? What's one thing I can do? And what's maybe a project I can create? Can I spread this to other parts of the world that also need this? It's a really great initiative that you could potentially have some part in. Yo.
So I struggle with this on a weekly basis, and my question is it okay to own companions, like pets, that unfortunately do not have the biology to be vegan?
Like a
for
cat?
example, a
Yeah,
cat.
that's a good question. Thanks, bro. Is it okay to have companion animals that are carnivorous by nature? So the majority of animals in our society, at least, we have dogs, we have cats. Dogs can easily thrive on a plant-based diet, in case you didn't know. Tons of recipes out there, tons of examples, tons of testimonials from vets and doctors of who know all about this kind of thing. So that's easy. There's also a lot of information now out there about cats, because the cat food that we buy at the store, the nutrient that they need, or the vitamin that they need, is called taurine, and that is found only in meat, or it can be synthesized. the food that we buy cats in the can and whatever else is actually also supplemented with taurine because it's so poor quality food. Most of the taurine is actually killed. So what you can also do is buy specific vegan cat food that is the plant-based version, but still supplemented with taurine. They get all the nutrients they need. The cats still are perfectly happy, perfectly healthy, live a long life just like they would have on the other food, potentially even longer depending on how poor the quality of food was. But also no animals had to die in order for this animal to live. Now there may be some animals where that's not an available option, or potentially you can't get that cat food where you live or something like that. So is it okay to have these animals? We've created a situation in this world where we have a massive problem with overpopulation of domesticated animals. There are pounds all over the world that are killing animals because they can't find homes for them. A great thing to do is to take one of these animals. I don't like to choose, but of course if you're going to choose between one, you've got space for one animal, of course it makes sense to choose an animal that you would find it easier to put on a plant-based diet because of the obvious reasons. So generally that would be what I would recommend. But if you already have a cat or some other animal that for whatever reason cannot be on a plant-based diet, you're in a tough situation. It sucks. Another situation where you be the best vegan you can be. You're not going to let your animal starve to death, obviously. So what do? Potentially there's a way that you can source meat where you're not funding the industry. Potentially there's a way that you can have, you don't, okay, they can't go 100% plant-based. Maybe they can go 70% or 50% or even 30%. Maybe you can reduce it. Maybe you can get offcuts. Maybe you can get, I don't know, maybe you can find a way. It still might not be perfect, but again, you be the best vegan you can be in that situation. It's not good. It's not a good situation either way. You're not going to let your animal starve. You don't want to feed animals that have been killed to keep your animal alive. But you're excused because you got to do something. And so again, you just do the best you can do. You make the best choices you think you can make. And I don't think it's wrong because sometimes they're just the choices we got. It's not a perfect world. It's definitely not a perfect world for vegans. And so, if that's one thing you've got to do, but you are 100% vegan in every other way you can be, great. Then you're doing your best. You're doing your part. And over time, like I said with the hunting situation, as more demand for more alternative ways, so we can be vegan, vegan medications, vegan baby formulas and whatever else, the demand grows and we'll find ways for all of this stuff. Right now, we're still ironing out some kinks. Yeah. Yep.
We have some of our students that have to leave, but I was wondering if we can do a group picture with some of the clubs.
Sure. No worries. Maybe you want to come. Maybe you want to come over here, and then we can. Like
Savannah, you guys want a picture with James?
Oh, I should actually. I think I've got to go too. What time is it? Do I have to go?
7:10.
I forget what time.
Yeah, we can go.
We have to go.
Maybe we can fold up our chairs and go do a group picture with you.
Why don't you just come here and we'll all just be here, and you can stand up there. Yeah, because then no one has to do anything.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'm hooking these up. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
If the people at the table or the nonprofit student organizations, if those individuals could maybe come a little bit more to the front, that'd be great for this group photo. So yes, keep stacking the chairs, and if you want to stay for the group photo, come to the front. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. That's fine. The campus reservation people can come get them. I'll speak with them. See what they want. Yeah, that's fine right now.
As long as we get the chairs, okay. Picture?
Whoever's going to be in the group picture, come on over. Group picture. Let's go. Let's go.
People in the front.
Okay, if you look up
Hey guys, everyone good?
We're coming. We got vegan Evans.
Going once, going twice.
Vegan awesome. Vegan
Oh, there he is. Oh, we're frosted.
Everyone in?
Everybody in? All right. 1, 2, 3. No, don't go away though.
1, 2, 3, go vegan.
Okay, one more time. One more time, just in case you blink.
And let's do a silly one. A silly one.
A silly one. Okay. What do you want? A silly?
Alright, silly.
Make a silly face.
How about a V for vegan?
Vegan. Put vegan Evan on Gianna's shoulder.
All right. Good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Picture will be on Red Fest Facebook.
Oh my god, so I'll tell you.
Was this good? Yes. I know you're on your 12th moon, but there is a vegan party at the It's after party. Palm City Brewing, about 15 minutes from campus. I'm leaving as soon as this is taken care of. I'm there. Gloria's already there. Yeah. But I want to invite you. It's amazing for you vegan food, but you can just vibe if you wanted to.
I probably should go home. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good too.
Thank you.
Is that right?
The Zyso fans will be over here. Take pictures.
I some shaky ground goes plants. Are they crashes? Let's not go there. Let's talk about all the pragmatic things like and also health. Think about like how easy it is for people to get together. At the end of the day, the worst thing that could happen if someone has a disagreement with their friends is question. It's hard to question your religion.
I was literally in class.
I need to find
This like
Literally a potato.
I'm literally beans and rice.
Beans and rice.
Like I'm just gonna be
Just a hungry potato. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm just like trying not to show it. Don't show it.
You're like, I admire you so much. Like, you always have things so common. Wow.
I don't know. I found out I have a lot of Aquarius energy. In fact, 4 signs means you're stellar or sty or something like that. That just makes me come over and it's like a voice for it.
That's who you are. Like, you're just so like, playful, like, always happy. And so I'm like, is he even stressed?
Just the friendship spirit.
Together.
You know, I don't float around in that friendship. That's how we do.
You're always so well put together. Wow.
Definitely, it's a miracle. It is a miracle.
a while from now. You're not happy. I think we did have a lot of fun. I have your serious.
I gotta go.
So I walked back out there and I went over. I was like, what the fuck is that Spider-Man? And I was like, did I just see Peter Parker?
No, we're real. We're really good. Palm City. It's like 15 minutes. No, 15 minutes.
You don't need to, as long as you get your yellow shirt. That's why I wanted to check in. Believe me, I told them not to expect it. Just come through. Just come for a little bit. That's all I'm doing.
Yes, baby.